Ghosts.
Hello, Ghostbusters.
They're real.
You do? You have?
They're here.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to Paws On Animation and our podcast.
This time we're covering the pop culture legendary movie Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters!
The original!
This movie has made its mark in cinema history as one of the best movies of all time. So now, just in time for October, we're going to give our thoughts on it to you. Who you gonna call?
Ghostbusters! And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification button on future podcasts and we'll pause videos.
Yes, I'm dancing to it now. Goes. Okay. So, we have a collector's edition where you get movies 1 and 2, but we're only going to be discussing movie 1 in this podcast. And it has included what's called a movie scrapbook.
Okay.
So, quickly I'm going to read an inside look at the making of Ghostbusters, and then we're going to get right into it.
Okay.
Ghostbusters began as Ghost Smashers, Dan Aykroyd's original screenplay in which he and John Belushi traveled through space and time in pursuit of ghosts. When Aykroyd brought the project to Ivan Reitman, successful comedy producer of Animal House and director of Stripes, Reitman agreed to helm the film but wanted to revise the script's locale entirely to modern-day New York City. Coming up with the basic premise of scientists who turned ghostbusting after losing their college grants, Reitman recruited Animal House co-writer Harold Ramis to rework the script with Aykroyd. In May 1983,
armed with the concept and the star team of Murray and Aykroyd, Reitman pitched Ghostbusters to Columbia Pictures. Even without a finished script, the studio saw the project's potential and greenlit the film, with the understanding it would be ready for release in 1 year, the summer of 1984.
this is fantastic. If you see this in store, get it. I actually got this at Walmart a few years ago, but it's got an inside look at the making of Ghostbusters, creating an icon, developing the characters, special effects from paper to celluloid, and poster exploration. This is really nice. This is like something you would pay extra for on Amazon.
Right, like an exclusive and all your bonus features, physical bonus features actually.
And thank goodness I got it before they started, having everything higher, and it was available at Walmart. They even have a page on each actor: Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Bill Murray, and Ernie Hudson, as well as Sigourney Weaver, Rick Moranis.
Cool.
But they don't have one for the one who played Janine.
Go figure, okay.
And Ivan Reitman. But no, they don't have Janine. And they have one for Slimer. How are you going to have a page for Slimer, but no page for Janine?
Oh, that's funny.
What the heck is that?
Oh, what that's about.
Well, who
It's
am I
not
going to
important.
call? Who you going to call? Okay. So, Ghostbusters. We know you've seen it.
Of course, you have to have seen it by now. If not, what are you waiting for? This is one of the best movies ever made, and this is what really started not just huge things for action comedies, but also horror comedies, where it didn't have to be incredibly bloody or graphic and violent for it. The most you got out of it was an excess amount of slime and quite a few innuendos. It didn't need to be over the top and slash fest to be entertaining. And this is what originally you have horror comedies do. They would just kind of play around with these horror concepts. It would still be scary. It'd still have to stop the monster or the ghost, but it would be funny in ways that they would attack or they would have to stop them. And it's almost like a lost art form now, because you see some of the Ghostbusters movies made now. The female-centric one in 2016, which we still liked, was really different from the first one, but we enjoyed it still. And then you have Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is meant to be a more darker take, with the Ghostbusters now kind of being ghosts, which was a really different take on that. So this is the one that started it all, and it's sort of weird that a lot of movies aren't made like this anymore, or they're changing them to be just as eerie or creepy as possible.
Definitely. And another thing I really liked about this movie is there was intelligence to it. Mm-hmm. You have the 4 characters, they're all intelligent, 3 are scientists, and you have them using some scientific terms to explain what's going on, so you have some actual concepts and theories being used within this imaginary realm.
Right.
And it's just enjoyable listening to them. And then it's just like with anything else you get involved in as a fan, like JJK, you learn the terms, you learn what this and that is and what it means, and then you put it all together, and
Right.
then you actually can talk about it authoritatively, like
Right.
it's really a real thing. It's just like Star Trek or any other fan base, and you learn it. And that's what
Right.
I really liked about it, is they really put a lot of work and effort into making this something special.
Right.
And again, this was decades ago, before this became a real huge thing.
Right.
The biggest things you had back then probably were Trekkies, Star Trek. I can't think of anything else. Would be probably Doctor Who.
Yeah.
You really didn't have anything
Star
else
Wars.
really big.
That was it. Yeah.
And they made something out of nothing. And it says can't be done, but they did it.
Right.
And all of them were comedians. I think maybe Ernie Hudson was a serious actor, and the others were comedians. And they took this and made it into something unique and special that hadn't been done. And they did it successfully with number 2 as well, but
Right.
number 1 will always be the best.
Right. And one of those few times where a sequel was just as good or as entertaining as the first one. And when you go through the movie, it's almost surreal. Like, you can't believe some of this stuff was actually in the movie, and it's not like this is like a deleted scenes type thing or anything. It's just a lot of stuff they said to each other, the way they caught the ghost. Sometimes the ghosts be doing really freaky things, and it's like, what are they doing? Shouldn't you have done that when you were alive? And they'll just be doing the weirdest things
And
in
don't
this
forget
film.
the Keymaster.
Right, it's like, okay, that's radar. A lot of them did some really weird stuff like that, and others just kind of wanted to eat. They caused trouble and stuff. They kind of had no big goal. So I guess that's why when the Ultimate Evil one came, it was the most real threat.
It was also a team up between comedians from what was seen as the opposing shows back when they were originally out. And I've read this, that of course you had Bill Murray from Saturday Night Live, and then you had Rick Moranis, and you had give me a second, Harold Ramis. They were from Second City TV.
Right.
So Rick Moranis was also a comedian. So this actually had people that were in opposing comedy troupes come together and join and make a movie. And another reason I like this is because Sigourney Weaver, at that time, she was really, of course, hugely known for Aliens.
Right.
And so you got to see her in a different type of role. She did not only a serious portrayal, but she also did comedy.
Right.
So you got to see a different side of her. And I think this movie opened up for her a whole new abundance of roles that probably wouldn't have been available had she not been in this movie, because she had been just pegged as a sci-fi hero. And that was it. That's all anyone saw her was as Ripley.
Right.
But in here you got to see another side of her, and you got to see her feminine with the hair, and pretty and strong and funny and all the different things that make Sigourney Weaver.
Right.
So that's another reason I love this movie as well.
Right. And it's one of a lot of people's favorites to watch in October. It's just like with The Great Pumpkin, Nightmare Before Christmas, and lots of other specials. This is another one of those movies that you just love to watch around Halloween or just October in general, because it fits right in with the theme, with the ghosts and everything. It's something almost anyone can watch. I don't know about family because of some of the things they said, but you really could,
Well,
a
lots
lot
of families have watched it, and usually if you're younger, you have no idea what's being said,
Right.
what's innuendo. So yeah, families could watch
Yeah,
it.
okay.
And they
So,
watch
yeah.
and some younger people watch these that are much more violent and scarier.
Now,
than this.
yeah.
So Ghostbusters is nothing.
Right. So it's one of those movies that you could watch no matter how many times every year, like clockwork, like with Charlie Brown, and you just would never tire of it because it's so iconic and it's so well written. It's something that can always be enjoyed over and over and over.
Okay, 2 things left to point out. One of the special effects back when this was made. This was seen as high tech. Very quickly says, to meet Ghostbusters tight production deadlines, visual effects supervisor Richard Edlund and his staff were already at work on creating the film's 200 special effects shots
Oh my
before
gosh.
shooting was even complete. Working at his shop in Marina Del Rey on the sound cages at Burbank Studios, Ellen created creatures utilizing stop motion, rotoscoping, and still animation, and using miniatures. He recreated the Central Park West apartment building and its accompanying unnatural disasters. These effects shots were added to the film after principal photography was complete in February 1984.
Wow.
And back when this was done, I was like, wow, this was groundbreaking special effects and digital effects.
Right.
And the last thing I want to mention is that Ghostbusters is pop culture.
Yes.
Even decades later, it's still pop culture. Who you gonna call? I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Right.
That song, still, when you hear it, you dance to it and it's fun. And then you've got Slimer, who became pop culture. You got Stay Puft Man,
Right.
who became pop culture. You got Ecto-1,
Right.
that became, not the Ghostbusters car,
Right.
that became pop culture. You have so much that still remains relevant to this day.
Right.
That came about in this movie from 1984.
And people still reference it to this day when they do parodies.
Absolutely. So we know you've seen Ghostbusters. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you love it as much as we do? We know you do. Do you still love the theme song? We know you do. Let us know in the comments. And if you haven't seen it, what are you waiting for?
Right.
Don't watch that Ghostbusters Afterlife. Watch this one, the original.
Yes.
And come back and let us know what you think in the comments as well.
And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly videos on your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching and joining us. We really appreciate you and your support. If you want to check out your channel, let us know in the comments below.
I'm Rascal Entertainments.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.